1, 2, 3. G'day, legends. Welcome back to the final episode of The Late Show for 2024. What an addition it's been this year. It's almost been as good as the addition of Dane Gagai to my Supercoach team, Timber.
It has been a good addition. Yeah, I've really enjoyed The Late Show. It's as you put it, we like to get a bit unbuckled with it. It's I really like what we're doing today, like the Super Pod edition, throwing those in as well, because it's great because we get so many good questions come in. There's a lot of left field players thrown up, and it generates a lot of different thinking and ideas about the game. Oh, someone's put this up, and it just opens up a lot of different discussion points and a lot of different players that we hadn't considered. Someone might find someone at low ownership, left field, and you go, "Yep, great call. Hadn't even spotted him." It's fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. And today, mate, normally we have questions. We're going through our Super Pod, so we're going top 10% ownership.
Oh,
and
you're terrible at explaining.
Yeah, I am. Take it away.
So, of the top 10% ranked coaches overall, we are looking at players that are sub 10% ownership.
You're like a politician. Can you just be like the people?
I'm not a politician. I'm just good at what I do, unlike you.
No
the idea is the final round of the season, the overall race in Supercoach set to be decided at the conclusion of this weekend. For the people out there looking for that Hail Mary, one last, whether it's to get you to top spot overall, top 10 overall, top 100, top 1,000, top 10K, whatever it might be, these are the players that can do it.
Now, my theme of this episode, 2 words. Be courageous. Make a fucking move.
Is this to me?
No, I'm just saying to the people out there, make moves. It is one game. It is just the best matchup you can find. Don't be afraid to go really fucking weird in this. You look back to last year, we'll talk about him soon, this same position, Kohler, jumping in at fullback, scored about 400 points in 3 weeks. It was sensational. It boosted me up heaps. Got laughed at when I first chose it, but you just back your gut feel in and go for it.
Yeah, you and I both went DC. I think for the final 2 rounds, he went like 150, 140 or something. And
you couldn't have paid me enough money to start the season with DCE. No. Not a hope in hell. But get to the back end, good matchups. It's all that matters now.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. Timbo, you're going to start us at someone
rock
who's...
off. I mean, I'm starting anyway, but let's rock off.
You want to just rock off for old time's sake?
Sure.
Okay. Did I win last week?
You did. You can go. You could finish with 2 in a row.
Oh, so it's winner takes all here.
Well,
I mean, I don't know if that's fair given anyway, whatever. Your track
record. Your last rock off.
Yep.
Scissor, paper, rock.
The kid's good. The kid's good. That, I'll tell you what, that sets me up with a lot of momentum going into next year. My preseason has just been turned on its head. We're given hope once again. I like it.
No, you won't train over the off-season. You'll be 0 from 17 to start next year. Complacency.
Complacency, you reckon?
Yeah.
You were right about I won't train in the off-season. All right, Timbo, take us away. Your favourite pod or your starting pod under 10% owned in the top 10%.
Yeah, so we're not going ranking order in terms of favourites, but we are going from basically sub 10% down. And what a great one to start with. Sir Nicholas Hines, the Prince of the Shire.
The Prince that was promised.
The Prince that was promised. 9.8% ownership. He's only 645K, so affording him from Sammy Walker shouldn't be an issue. Up against Manly, who playing some really good footy, but their defence is still questionable. Sunday afternoon, I believe this game is. Yeah, it is Sunday 2 p.m. It's meant to be dry and sunny. The conditions are fantastic. Holy moly, he's tempting.
Very, very tempting. I like the look of him last week. We just weren't sure if he was going to play or not. We weren't 100% sure. I don't mind the play. Manly at Brookie, I don't love it. If it was a different matchup, I could find myself going Hines very quickly. I'll tell you what, Timmy, 645K, if he's around that mark next year, that's sensational.
Are you for real?
What? You already say that?
No. Do you have no concept of how Supercoach works?
Explain it to me.
Why would he be 645K? What do you think you get priced on to start the new year?
Yeah, he's averaging stuff.
Yeah, he's averaging 77.
Okay, sure. But even that, like he was 900K to start the season? You're still, you're going to get him at a good price.
He'll be at a good price.
Be at a great price.
Yeah, he won't be 645K. He'll be like...
Well, he might be. Depends how he goes this week. Got a break even of 90. You've tipped him as a good pod play. It means you'll probably score 2, so you might get him for 630K.
If he scores 20 and he's average,
Motherfucker put me in a corner.
Big Dog's going to respond.
I like the Hines play. I just don't love the matchup. I'll be honest with you. I was hot and heavy for him last week. I didn't really consider him this week just because of the matchup. But it's Nicho Hines. Like, can't be ignored. Goal kicking, everything. Huge.
Yeah. And he, I'm with you. I think if he was playing a bottom 8 team, particularly a bottom 8, like 10 or 11 onwards, that their season was done, you'd have to do it.
Yeah, I think you have to.
But against a Manly side playing good footy in really good form, I think you'd have to go against it. Okay, so approximately Nico's going to be 790K next year.
Cheapest chips. Thanks for coming. Straight in.
It is cheap.
I will say this about Nico, Timbo. If we're sitting here next week and we're like, of course, Nico scored 150.
Yeah.
It was the obvious he's the guy with the pedigree and all that. So I can understand people doing it, not for me. Now, my little pod play that I'm going to bring up is at 9.2 ownership, and I'm doing this because of a good matchup. I don't mind Hamiso this weekend, mate. Wayne's got this team up. I believe he will be playing left centre again, which means he'll be going up against Dane Gagai, who has been absolutely murdering it this season. Defensively, though, a lot of issues with Dane Gagai. I like a Hamiso little pod play, and I think he's the 9.2% ownership. I'd be very, very confident playing him this week.
Yeah, and he's only going to be 520K to start next year.
Oh, boy. This guy, man. Take your shots while you can, kid. Take your shots while you can.
I don't mind it. I don't mind what the Knights are throwing up at the moment. I think they're playing good footy, and I think they'd be scary to play week 1 of finals. I think their defence is quite solid. I think they've shown they can score anywhere on the park. Their right edge has become their dominant edge. We know the left edge is unbelievable in attack. And I spoke about it ad nauseum in recent weeks on the Bloke in a Bar podcast, but I think the short interchange of passing between forwards has made them so lethal through the middle. So I think they can make a bit of a run if they win this game on the weekend against the Dolphins. Don't mind the hammer play. I think the Knights win this game. I know you're a bit more bullish about the Dolphins. I like the Knights in it at home. So don't mind the hammer play. Wouldn't be doing it myself.
I think the Knights are a team playing average footy coming up against shit matchups over the last few weeks.
You could say the same about the Dolphins, who they smoked the Broncos, who were horrific. The week before, the Storm beat the Dolphins 48-6 or something.
I just think Wayne's got him up for this, though. I think the Knights, I think there's a lot going on up there. I think that there's been a lot of issues covered up with matchups against Tigers, South Sydney, Gold Coast Titans over the last few weeks. I just think Wayne will... Mate, you come to the back end of this season and Wayne gets to end the Broncos and the Knights season, 2 teams that he didn't leave well. Yeah. He's going to have his team up and about for this, in my opinion. So I don't mind Hamiso as a play there because I like the matchup against Gagai, one of the elite players in this competition. Defensively, has not been fantastic. Who's next, mate?
I'll take one scrolling down. You very briefly mentioned him in the Beers and Break Evens podcast, but Blaze Talangi... I had some stats around that Tigers right edge and how I think it was the equal second worst defence in the competition, that right edge, that Blaze Talangi and Maika Sivo will be going at. So, look, Maika Sivo is going to be further down the system. We've spoken about him. I think Maika Sivo is a terrific pod play this week. I think he can ton up. He could also score 14. But, yeah, the bloke who's going to be feeding him a lot of that ball is Blaze Talangi.
I like that. Yeah, I think he's in for a good game, Blaze. I've got one that probably doesn't have the ceiling that I would like for this play, but just a good matchup. I think for an anytime try scorer, I like him this week. Dylan Lucas, I think he'll line up on the left edge for Newcastle. That means he'll be going at the right edge of the Dolphins. I would be sending him at Jake Averillo every day of the week out there. So I do not mind that matchup of Dylan Lucas. I'll be on him on about even this week. I think it's a good little matchup for him. He's playing some very, very good footy. He's got an opportunity in this last week to potentially hold on to that spot for next season, which if you came and said to me, Dylan Lucas has to hold it for next season, I'd get where you're coming from, 100%. I don't mind Dylan Lucas there. He's one of those guys, Timbo, If I had one trade, I'm not considering it. If I have 3,
Yeah.
I don't mind the play.
I love it too. He's impressed me so much this year, Dylan Lucas. And as you said,
1.9%.
yeah, as you said, getting that the Averillo matchup.
It's
Averillo, not the strongest defender of all time.
And if it goes to shit or it changes or whatever, at worst he gets Cody Nicarima, which I'm happy with as well.
Yeah.
But the Averillo one, I'd be peppering him big time. That's the one thing that I think for you, Marshu owners out there, I think they will try and go at that edge.
Yes. And God, that Sydney start's going to haunt me this week.
Yeah, it's going to be.
And it's not even going to change anything. No finals, no decent overall rank, but it's still going to haunt me because that's what Supercoach does. Jack Howarth.
Ooh.
We've spoken about a few of these Storm players and how...
What percentage is he at? So I can find him.
3.3.
Okay.
So, we've spoken about all the Storm players, how good they match up with the Bridges. We both think they're going to put a big score on. And, we've sort of spoken about Fa'alongo and how good a play he looks. Jerome Hutick will go massive. I know, scoring-wise, he'll need attacking stats to fall his way, but if they have success on that left edge and Howarth happens to get amongst it, there could be a really good scoring. There could be a really... Well, I'm going to get to him now. I don't know his ownership, but I'm assuming it's nothing. But Xavier Coates is also a great one. Honestly, so you could go just about anyone in this Storm backline. Fa'alongo's still only at 1.5% ownership.
It's a good play, man.
I thought I
think he'll jump up.
He will jump, but again, people don't have trades left. People might be looking to get a half back in or something if they have Walker and Cleary or something. So, that's very exciting.
So who else I don't mind in that game, just whilst we're on the Melbourne Storm run, obviously Nick Meaney. He'll be goal kicking in this game. He could stack up a lot of points there. He's at 1.8% ownership, dual position. Not that matters for you, but I don't mind the Nick Meaney play either.
Let's say, okay, because I think there's plays in Meaney, there's plays in Xavier Coates, there's a play in Jack Howarth. Will Warbrick is at 0.3% ownership with 46 owners in the top 10%. Who's the pick of these guys? It might be a goal kicking Meaney.
It's a goal kicking Meaney, I think. Yeah. I think Sua's got the highest ceiling, but I'm always hesitant with as we've had this conversation a million times. Your Reece Walsh's of the world that you just need him to do $1 million to do something. And he's not like Reece Walsh for his timing and everything's always perfect in this side. So I can understand why people find Sua very appealing, but mate, I'd be going Nick Meaney. If he can cross for just one try, I think he can go astronomical.
Could kick 8 goals.
Especially on that Hughes edge. Eli Katoa, of course, havoc down there.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm happy with Fa'alongo, but of the CT dub, of the centre wingers, I should say, because Fa'alongo's available there, the centres and wings at Melbourne, I think if you're going with one, it's probably Meaney is the play.
Yeah. All right, what about, Timbo, if you're someone out there who didn't have Tommy Turbo, let's say you're a Ponga and you're a Teddy owner, your only big injury this week was Sam Walker. Pod play, 1.2%. Any interest in Benny Hunt, maybe?
Big game, leaky Eels defence. Oh, sorry, not Eels.
Raiders. Going up against the Raiders left edge.
He's a hard one to gauge.
He's a tough one. Yep.
Geez, a roller coaster.
I just like that whenever there is a play going out to Zach Lomax, it tends to come off the back of Ben Hunt.
Yeah.
I think that's where they'll target their attack. It's not a play I would make, but if you find yourself in a position where you've got fullback set, you're happy with your CTWs and Sam Walker's your only player you're going to move on, I can see a bit of potential in Benny Hunt there.
It's a really tough one because we don't know what Raiders side are going to turn up.
Yep.
Or we really don't. If they do what they've done the last 2 weeks, will you say absolutely not? If they, barring a draw in that Dolphins Knights game, which is extremely unlikely, the Raiders season's over. Do they throw the towel in a little bit? Like the Dragons are playing, in the same boat. I just don't know what Raiders turn up.
I'll tell you who's the other ball player that, according to team list, he won't play. And I doubt he will play, but I'll tell you what would throw the ultimate spanner in the works, Timbo. If we get to Thursday night and they decide we didn't rest Munster last week, let's rest him this week, and Wishy jumps into 5'8".
Oh,
Because you know what? looking at what happened last week, when Munster played, I actually thought, I wonder if they've sent Munster up there to play and he maybe just gets to spend the week with his family in Queensland. And then, I sort of thought there was a chance he might be arrested this week. Evidently, he's not. He's ready to go. But, fuck, if Wishy was to come into that 5'8" role, he would be super interesting all of a sudden.
He would. He'd be a real serious option. God, I'd love to finish with a little Wishy play.
It'd be huge. He's been special to us
I
this
really
year.
hope he doesn't because I really want to get Farlongo and I also really want Munster to play against the Broncos.
Yes. Yeah, dude.
But it would be fun.
Yeah.
One of my rare crowning moments of
You
2024.
nailed that. You nailed that, to be fair. And I don't know if I'm where I am without that. So I'll pay some credit on that one.
Thanks, mate.
You got one?
I do. And he goes by the name of Jacob Preston.
Ooh.
And he's just playing such good footy. 62-point average. You probably don't start with him next year because the value's not probably quite there. But he's had a few injury concerns this year. But most weeks since he's come back from injury, he's basing sort of 51. He got an early shower or don't know if something happened injury-wise, but played only 49 minutes against the Warriors. But weeks before that had base of like 50, 43, 55. Gee, he looks good in attack. He runs such a good line. They're using him really well. Toby Sexton's using him really well. Tunned up last week. I don't mind a little play. He'll be running right edge. He'll be running at Deard and his only concern. He's a really good defender, but don't mind it.
If it was on the other edge, I'd find it a lot more appealing, but
I know.
can't win them all. Okay. My next guy. Owned by 0.7%. I think these numbers are absolutely criminal, Tim. He's been purchased this week by a grand total of 13 people. He is playing fullback for the Manly Seagulls.
Here we go.
Kohler. How the fuck have only 13 people taken the punt on this guy?
Is that who you were going to suggest I get?
I don't mind
For
it for
Turbo?
you. I don't mind. Was it who I was going to... Yeah, it was going to be up there with me. I would
Yeah,
love
it
you
was because I cut you off because you kept giving away the pods on.
True. I'd love you to join the trade train with me, but I'm not going to force you into that. I don't mind the Cole, but you like Kohler.
I do like Kohler.
Hey, does Clem still have Kohler by any chance? I remember she owned... That was probably Magic Round now I think about it. Actually, it was a while ago, to be fair. I wonder if she's one of those 109 people.
I've got a team up here. She does not.
She does not. Mate, Kohler, as you guys know, last year, that was my big pod player to finish the season. He absolutely blitzed. He was playing teams at the bottom of the ladder. I get it 100%. But, I mean, the Sharkies are a good footy side, 100%. I'm not super confident on this one, but he is playing at Brookie Oval. They're playing for a final spot. You know what? I also think Kohler's got a bit of a point to prove. He was on the bench last week for a few teenagers and newcomers to the club. I don't hate it. I still prefer going Trey Fuller over him, but he's got the pedigree to go absolutely enormous here, Kohler.
It's a good point in that he's playing to get a spot in finals.
Yeah, bloody oath.
Yeah, and to be a starter, like he could eat, like he's probably a bench player for them. I guess the bench utility going into finals, but he could also just as easily drop out of there. I just couldn't do it against the Sharks because their defense is pretty. I mean, they conceded a few last week, but their defense is pretty solid. I'd hold on. Isn't it a shame, like just for enjoyment factor, after what he did for you last year, if he was playing like the Tigers or Eels or something here or Rabbitohs?
I'd go him in a heartbeat.
I know.
Yeah, just for content.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think I could do it just because of that matchup.
Who else you got, mate?
Going down. Do you have anyone else?
Yeah, I've got a few that I don't mind. Fletcher Sharp. If you're a Gagai owner like me, I don't mind going that, but I personally think the Dolphins will get up this week. One that I don't mind at all, mate. Jarrell Skelton. Going up against the Cowboys. Love to concede points. My only concern is, and you'd know better than me, if he's outside Kiraz, does that mean he gets no fucking football?
Not a big fan of passing the football, Kiraz.
Kiraz, yeah, okay.
Huge fan of offloading it. Not a
Tell
big
you
fan
what,
of
if Skelton
passing
found himself outside Critter, I'd find that very interesting.
Well, I'm just thinking. He will, won't he? Won't he be right?
Will he? Well,
Fox will be left.
Fox will be... Oh, okay.
So he will be.
Oh, yeah, because Kiraz is moving to centre, isn't he? Yeah, okay. I don't mind that.
Right edge. Comes out into the left edge defence of the Cows, Val and Taulungi.
Hello, Gerald Skelton. Fuck, I'm playing him in draft too. I don't mind that. He'll get through a lot of base. I think Critter comes back in with a bang after being out for that team's loss last week. I like it. The ball player on that edge will be Hutcho though, which I don't love. No, it won't.
No.
Oh no, Sexton plays right, doesn't he? Yeah, so nothing changed. If anything, they probably get more ball.
Yeah.
I like that.
Good.
Won't be for me, but I think it's worth thinking about.
Oh, one that we love, one that Cat loves. Connor Tracy. Again, like it's a big game for the Cowboys, but you still don't know what version of them is going to turn up. They could lose 30-6. Like who knows with them? They could win 30-6. But Connor Tracy, 614K. He's got that duel, so you can get him at CT double or fullback. We know he's got a big score in him. He's had a couple this year. Things go his way. You know, Matty Burton out. Maybe he gets a bit extra attacking ball. He had a 167 against the Broncos. He turned up early in the year against the Eels. They were both at fullback. You could do worse than little C. Tracy.
Don't mind that at all. My next man, we've sort of spoken about him already in the show, and I think he needs to be a serious consideration for people out there. Basing 32 points per game this year, based 43 on the weekend. He is owned by a grand total of 0.3% of the top 10%. Paul Alamotti, goal kicking for the Penrith Panthers, taking on the Titans at home. I froth this. If I had 3 trades, Tim, he is one of the guys I would bring in without a doubt.
My next one was about to be the bloke on his wing in Sunia Taruva.
Like them both.
Yeah.
Goal kicking just gets him home for me.
Yeah.
And knowing that he's going to play the position, which side he's going to play on.
Yes, I like it. Again, it's almost a coin flip as to which Penrith edges you go with. We don't know. So, Alamotti, he bust tackles, he offloads, he's a pretty decent ball player. I feel like the Panthers' edges could feast, but off the back of the stats that we spoke about on Beers and Break-Evens, do they just demolish them through the middle? I don't know, but I really like the play. I really do. I want a piece of the Panthers this week that I don't have. I'm with you. If Fa'alogo wasn't fullback for the Storm, I reckon I'd be going Brian Toto. If I had 2 trades, I'd get probably Toto as my second one, but I like the Alamotti play.
I love it. I'll tell you what, I really love Trey Fuller because he's at 0% and I want to do that just for the sake of it. If Trey Fuller wasn't playing this week, I would go Alamotti. If I had 2 trades, I would get Alamotti in a heartbeat. I reckon he's a great play this weekend. And honestly, I'd consider captaining him. In the last week, goal kicking, you know he's not going to get a rest. He's going to be out there the entire game. I think the Titans have checked out. Fafita's not even playing this week. I reckon Alamotti could absolutely
the Panthers put 40 on, and I think, what's that? That gives him roughly 6-7 tries. Let's say at a minimum he can kick 5 goals there. 20-odd points there just from goals, any attack. Yeah, I think he's a really good play. You mentioned Fletcher Sharp's a good one. I'm all for that, what we're seeing on that right edge there. 132 on the weekend. Scored 3, could have been 6. Yeah, there's a lot of good options to finish the season.
I'll tell you the other one, Timmy, and you couldn't do it with the matchup this week, but just about if he was playing anyone else, Keanu Keeney's only at 0.2%. Playing the Panthers, so you can't do it. But if the matchup was slightly better, he'd be very interesting. Oh, my God.
What?
Fuck, Sivo's low.
What is he?
0.2. He's owned by 28 people.
I think he's an awesome buy. I really do.
He's a great buy, yeah. Wow.
Just for entertainment's sake, if Fa'alogo had shot up to like 10 or 15, I'd be pretty tempted by Sivo. But seeing the numbers of Fa'alogo, I'm like, okay, I'm happy to get around that.
Okay, anyone else on the list for you there, mate?
I think we've ticked them all off pretty well, Roo. I think we've done a good job.
The only other one that I would mention would be my boy Trey Fuller, and I am scrolling. What about a Brad Schneider play owned by 9 people?
I mean, he's not super pod, but if I was going at Penrith half, it'd be Jerome Luai.
Jerome Luai.
You get more touches, you get better touches. I prefer the Luai play. I actually really like the Luai play this week.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm still scrolling to find Trey. Still scrolling. There he is. Okay, so he's owned by a grand total of 2 people at the moment, and he's been brought by 1 person this week.
That's great.
I love that. And that's going to go up to 3 before you know it. So Trey Fuller for me, my pod play to finish the year. And should I captain him, Timbo?
We both know you're going to do it.
We'll do it? Yeah, why not?
How's
Let's have some fun.
I just want to touch on this bloke very briefly, but then we'll wrap it up. But Kyle Felt, the old bull, he's averaging 65 points this year, which is tremendous. I put him, not elite CTW, but second tier. Kyle Felt is owned by 25 people in the top 10%.
Mate, the matchup's tough this week.
Yeah.
As a guy that owns Kyle Felt and Scott Drinkwater in draft, I watched them very closely all year. If I'm playing the Bulldogs this week, I'm not even going to fucking bother trying to attack that Stephen Crichton edge. I'd be going the other side.
Yeah.
And I reckon Kyle Felt could do okay this week. Drinky's the other one we didn't talk about. He was in that list. I know it's Canterbury. And I don't think he goes enormous this week, but be another little pod play there.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any chance the arse has fallen out of Canterbury or do you think we get a bounce back?
No, they've been terrific for age. It's one bad game. I don't think so.
They also didn't have Critter.
No, for sure. But like they've had to play these tough games. Like it would have taken a lot out of them to get to where they are.
Potentially, but
Same could be said for any team at this stage.
I'd never make a judgment on one.
For sure. But they're a team that's come bottom 3 for the last 4 years. Like they're not used to being in this spot. I don't think so. I'm just asking the question.
It's possible, but I would never change an opinion on a team based on one game. If we see 2, I'm like, okay, maybe, but every team has an off week. That was for the Dogs last week.
Now, I did still get some questions from people last night, and there is just one I'd like to read out. Shout out to Zach Fitzroy97. Who is Timmy sitting this week? Probably worth putting the C on him, which I thoroughly appreciate.
Yeah.
Have you made that decision yet?
No, I don't know. What did I say? It would be between Marju, Nikita, and Val Holmes. The beauty of all 3 of those players is they all have huge ceilings, so it's just fun no matter what way you look at it. I don't know.
Now, just having a look through these questions too, there's a lot about like reflecting on our seasons, which we'll put up a post next week about it, guys. Get a lot of questions like that because we'll have our season review. We'll probably do 2 or 3 episodes reviewing our seasons over the next few weeks, so stay tuned for those where we'll go through and answer all of those questions and good times.
Good times.
Anything else?
No.
Done, Kat?
Done.
Bit of a boring episode for you. Sorry, I don't even know if we introduced you there.
I love that the only time Kat chimed in was to defend a boy Stephen Crichton. She's like, yeah, Crichton wasn't playing.
Very good. I like that.
That was actually a good point from you, Timmy. I did do that.
It's not bad from you.
I did do that.
I bring him up occasionally.
You good at what you do. I'll
Just
pay
to
it.
make sure I'm listening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. All right, that'll do us, guys. Thank you for your support for the Late Show this year. It's been unreal to bring you some extra content and sort of split it up a little bit and obviously have the Late Show that was a little bit more of a loose carry, you could say, looking for the offload.
Yeah, and if you have any feedback for the Late Show, any tweaks to it next year, just flick either of us a message on Instagram or wherever and let us know and we can act accordingly.
To be honest with you, we'd really appreciate some feedback on the Late Show and what you guys want to see and what we can add and whatever. We're very open. We've already discussed a couple of things to add next year potentially, like some week-to-week bets, challenges, that sort of stuff.
Yep.
So whatever you've got, send it through. We're very, very keen to hear them. And we will see you next week for the start of our season reviews.